LFA 100 Altamirano versus Smith kicks off this Friday, and we're going to be going over this card here and doing a full card prediction, full main card, and one prelim. Normally I don't pick the prelims, but I'm going to pick one of them this time because we have a little bit of info on it, and I feel like I can kind of get a better read than I normally can on the prelims. Also, there was a fight canceled on this card, so I don't know if this prelim might get jumped up to the televised portion, like onto the main card. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But that prelim that I'm talking about is Rashad Robinson versus Alden Coria, and this is going to be at 125 pounds at flyweight. And Robinson is coming in 3-1. He's kind of fought kind of low level competition. He had a pretty unimpressive amateur career. He was 2-6. And to be honest, I don't know if he's really going to be there with Coria in this. Like, Coria's 3-0. He's 22 years old. He's been fighting since 2015. Undefeated amateur, obviously undefeated pro. He's got pretty good grappling and like he likes to threaten with submissions. He's got some slick escapes and some get ups, and he's just pretty quick. And I just think Coria is better than Robinson here, so that's going to be my pick, Coria. I don't know if we're going to be able to even get action on this fight, but just in case, that's my pick. And then we're moving on to Stephen Nguyen versus Jorge Juarez. This is going to be at featherweight, 145 pounds, and Nguyen is coming in at 6-1. He's much taller and longer. He's faced quite a bit better opposition, if I'm being honest. He was supposed to have an extremely tough fight here against right here dudes, but that fell out, and he lost to Alan Cruz on Dana White Contender Series. That's his one loss. If you guys watched that fight, and he's got some pretty good like octagon control. I like the way he tries to stay on the front foot a little bit. He put together like some combos once he settled down a bit in the first, and then but Cruz is a good fighter, and he definitely got it done in the second and third round. Um, and then yeah, Nguyen hasn't fought since then, and that was in 2019. But he's coming up against Juarez here, who is 5-2. He was 2-3 in his amateur career. He hasn't really fought the best competition. He did fight J.J. Wilson, Bellator fighter, really exciting prospect in Bellator, which is definitely good. He got choked out in the first round in that fight. That was back in 2019. And only 2 of his 5 wins have come against opponents who have winning records going into the fight. And those winning records were 1-0 and 2-1. So just the competition level isn't really that high. One of his wins is over a guy who's 0-12. You know, like he's 5'6". He's a little shorter than Nguyen is. He's a short notice replacement for this fight, but he has fought more recently. But I just don't really think he's as good as Nguyen. So I'm going to be going with Stephen Nguyen here. I think he's going to get it done. Pretty confident in that one. And then we got a lightweight fight here: Gerald Scott versus Tommy Aaron. And Gerald Scott, he's undefeated 4-0. He has one LFA fight. He won that, obviously. He's pretty quick. He's got good confidence in there. Got some good swagger in the octagon. I like his head movement. It looks pretty good. He's got those fast kicks that he likes to get off quickly. And, you know, he likes to go first and try to back you up. He's got pretty good power. I don't think he's really going to be afraid of the clinch or really the ground that much, to be honest with you. But I definitely like his stand-up a lot. He's coming off a second round KO in his LFA debut, which was after a pretty long layoff. So nice to see that he wasn't looking rusty or anything like that in that fight. He was looking real good. And then Tommy Aaron is a 6-4, and he's coming off a nearly 3-year layoff. He beat Justin James. Actually, it's kind of an impressive victory on his resume. He's 2-0 in the LFA, even though he's just 6-4 overall. And they were both first round finishes. He had a choke and a knockout. And he lost to Roosevelt Roberts on Bellator, who's a pretty good guy. So he's fought pretty decent guys like Justin James, Roberts as well. But it's just too long of a layoff for me. Like, I just don't like that at all. So, and, you know, especially against a guy like Gerald Scott, you know, he's not a scrub. He's 4-0. He's good. He's got power. He can knock you out. So I just don't really like that he had such a long layoff. And my pick here is definitely going to be Gerald Scott. And then moving on up the card, we have Christian Natividad versus Evan Woolsey at 135 pounds at bantamweight. And Natividad is 2-0 as a pro. He was undefeated as an amateur. Both of his wins as a pro have been in LFA, and they were both first-round KOs. And he's used to being the shorter guy in his fights, dealing with taller and longer guys. He's very quick. He closes that distance really fast. Like he gets inside on you quickly. He throws hard. He throws accurate. I really liked what I saw out of him, and kind of the limited pro career that he's had so far. And he's just got big power. And he's in his like early 20s. He's like 23 or 24, I believe. And like man, they were two sweet ass KOs that he had in his two fights. I really liked what I saw about him. I love watching tape on this guy. And then Woolsey, he's 1-1 as a pro, and he has not fought since 2014. So we're talking about layoffs, man. Like I don't like the look of that at all, especially against a guy like Natividad who can just rock you. He's fought kind of lower level guys, and like he's 34. I just really don't like the spot for Woolsey at all. I think Natividad is going to get it done easily, and like he's a minus 1100 favorite right now. Last I checked. So I mean, like, come on, guys. Like, how am I supposed to not pick Natividad? That's definitely going to be the pick. I'm pretty confident in that. And then we're going to have Charles Johnson versus Carly Pangelinan, I think is how you say it. And that's also at flyweight. There's a couple flyweight fights on this card, 125 pounds. Johnson is 7-2 in MMA. He's been doing a lot of boxing, doing some Muay Thai. He's been training in Thailand at Tiger Muay Thai, which obviously you love to see that very well-respected and prestigious gym. He's 2-1 in the LFA, and the loss was to Brandon Royval. As far as LFA losses go, that's not bad at all. Royval obviously was really good in LFA, and he's shown some really good stuff in the UFC as well. And Johnson's going to have a pretty big size advantage here. I really like that he's training at Tiger Muay Thai, and he's fought just a little bit, well, maybe not even a little, pretty decent, decent gap, I'd say, between the competition that Johnson's been facing and that Carly's been facing. But can't take anything away from Pangelinan. He's 6-0 with 6 finishes. So what else can you ask for? But it's been pretty subpar opposition, to be honest. Like one of the guys he fought was literally 1-40 going into that fight. I'm not making that up. 1-40. So like, and Pangelinan, I think he's 5'3", coming in against Charles Johnson. I'm gonna go with Charles Johnson here. I think he's just gonna be better, more well-rounded, faced better guys. I just think he's going to have the upper hand here. So that's where my pick's going to be. And then we have the main event, Victor Altamirano versus Nate Smith. This should be a really fun fight. And I think this was tough, man, to break down. It really was. Altamirano is coming in at 8-1. He's 8-0 as a pro in LFA. He's had 2 amateur fights in LFA, which he split 1 win and 1 loss. And his only pro loss, the one loss on his record, is to Jared Brooks, which really isn't a bad loss. He's fought in the UFC. He fought Davison Figueiredo. He's fought on Risen. He's fought on Bellator. And he's just got these really hard and fast leg kicks that he likes to get off. He's pretty quick. He's got like decent head movement. Sometimes he gets tagged though. He's got pretty good jiu-jitsu. He was a brown belt in his last fight. I don't know if there's been any updates on that front, but like he's pretty slick on the ground, pretty smart. He looks for submissions. Like he's really threatening with those submissions. When he's on his back, he really looks to set up submissions and try to find a way to get you out of there and just apply pressure. When he fought Lloyd McKinney in his last fight, he did get his guard passed actually briefly. And McKinney's a great wrestler, pretty decent jiu-jitsu, but he's just got that heavy pressure. And it seems like Altamirano doesn't really like dealing with that type of pressure that much. He's got a pretty strong guard, but it seems like he just gets stuck on the ground sometimes with that pressure, and he just has to kind of deal with being in a non-dominant position for a large amount of time, which isn't really great if the fight's going to go to the scorecards, even if he is doing good work off his back. Like, you just don't want to have to be on your back for that long during the fight. And the thing is, like, with his stand-up, too, I find that he can kind of get cut off sometimes on his angles while he's circling around. He just gets cut off sometimes and gets tagged. And I just don't see that, like, ultra aggressive, trying to push you back type of stand-up from him. But he is pretty good with the stand-up, and those leg kicks are really good. I really like the way he uses those. He swings pretty hard and big when he closes the distance, which kind of opens him up for counters sometimes. But ultimately, like, he's really slick. He's savvy. He's a veteran. Altamirano is definitely no joke. He's a good fighter for sure. But we've seen, like, some wrestlers be able to take him down and really apply some pressure to him, and it doesn't look like he really loves that. And then moving on to Nate Smith, he's 6-1. He was undefeated until his most recent fight, which was a loss to Jimmy Flick on Dana White's Contender Series. And Jimmy Flick looked really good in that one. Flick passed his guard pretty easily on the ground. But Smith was calm and collected on the ground. He wasn't lost down there. He was patient, and he did end up getting tapped out, but he got out of a lot of tough situations in that fight. And I was pretty impressed with his defense against a guy like Jimmy Flick, who obviously we know is really good on the ground and just puts you in a lot of tough situations. And I kind of like the way that Nate Smith was able to handle that in his last fight. And he's a good wrestler. Nate Smith has maybe a bit of an underrated wrestling background, I might even say. He's a good wrestler, and it looks like Altamirano has kind of had trouble with that type of attack in the past. Um, and Altamirano is definitely no Jimmy Flick on the ground, so it's like, I don't know. I think this fight, my heart says it's gonna go to decision, man. I just think that Smith's defense will be probably good enough to keep Altamirano from tapping him out. Although he could get tapped, but like I think that his defense will be good enough to keep him safe for most of the time. Altamirano is no Jimmy Flick, but he is slick on the ground. And that good wrestling background for Smith is going to come in handy because Altamirano kind of has trouble with that kind of fight, I feel like. Smith is also just a little bit more built, a little bit thicker than Altamirano is. Altamirano looks like a bit skinny out there, but he does have that good speed. But Smith is fast too, so it's really tight. And this is probably going to be the second toughest guy that Altamirano has faced outside of Jared Brooks, who obviously is going to be the toughest. But you know what? I just think that Altamirano is savvy and slick, and I just think his veteran fight IQ is just going to get it done for him here. I see this going to decision, but this is a really tough fight. This is not really a confident pick. I do like that Altamirano is the underdog here. So I like him at the plus money. I'm taking a stab on him. But, Nate Smith, there definitely is a path to victory there, I think, with the wrestling and the pressure. And if Altamirano is going to be happy to stay on his back, like he really needs to be active from the ground. Because I do think that this fight is probably going to go the distance, and that might be a nice look to bet. I don't know what the odds are on that actually, but that might be nice. But my official pick for the fight, I'm going with Altamirano, and I'm just going to take a stab on him at the plus money, guys. So hopefully we make some money on this card. Let me know what you guys think about these fights in the comments and all that. And best of luck to everybody, and yeah, good luck on Friday night, guys.